What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple Newtype, and in this episode, we are finally diving into Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story, Missing Link, the manga, not the game. In this story, we will learn of EFF's Slave Wraiths and Zeon's Marchosius squad. We will be introduced to some new mobile suits that we have been missing from our one-year war coverage as well. This manga is an adaptation of the PlayStation 3 video game. Like Rise from the Ashes, I don't have any experience with the game, so I will rely on you to help fill any gaps in the comments that I may have missed. So let's get into this. Medeus comes entering into EFF airspace. They drop bombs onto the city. A team of mobile suits launch from the Medea-class ships. These are the Slave Wraiths. The RX-79G SW Slave Wraith, like the EZ-8, is a ground Gundam that is so modified that it required its own name. Its head has been changed and new optical sensors are added. It also has a new backpack system which we see here. This is a parachute pack that allows this unit to do drop missions alongside the Medea. The pack contains 3 parachutes and 4 thrusters. It also has wearable armor that when hit at a certain impact, it will internally set off a small explosion that will defuse the impact. Diffusing an explosion with an explosion? Is that a thing? Someone tell me. It is also equipped with Vulcans, a chest multi-launcher, a beam saber, machine gun, and a similar loadout you find on the GM. It locks onto a series of Type 61 tanks. Have you noticed something about this situation? It is an EFF team attacking an EFF base. We cut to a man making his final walk through death row right before he is sentenced to the death penalty. This is Travis Kirkland, and he is being put to death on suspicion of espionage. We cut back to the Slave Wraith team. They have taken out the Type 61 tanks and stomp on a couple jeeps. One commander from the window of a Federation building yells out towards the squad and demands to know why they are attacking Allied forces and wants to know their names. He says they are Slave Wraiths. They are an eradication team designed to kill off parasites that feed off the Federation. He says that this base engages in fraudulent activities. One soldier in a bloodhound sends data to the EFF commander, evidence that they sold out EFF to Zeon. Remember, we have seen bloodhound used mainly by Elidor in 8th MS team. The EFF commander gets nervous and yells out to do it. Out of a hangar comes 3 Zaku's. There is no need to hold back anymore. Travis tells his teammates, Bomber, Ripper, and Diver, to go to work. Bomber, Ripper, and Travis attack the Zaku's while Diver runs support. They take out 2 Zaku's and Travis slices through the remaining. He points his gun towards the EFF commander, but one Zaku gets back up and uses its Heat Hawk. Travis dodges the Heat Hawk and goes through the building, killing the EFF commander in the process. They shoot down the remaining Zaku. The team leaves on their Medea. Travis's internal monologue tells us about the team. They eliminate criminals within the military, track down people who abandon missions, and much more. Driver is the Medea pilot. Ripper killed a senior officer. Diver does the hacking, Bomber does the bombing, and Travis is the spy. They were once criminals, but are now at the beck and call of someone named Graves. Driver wonders what will happen to the base. Travis lets them know that ignorance is bliss. If they ask too many questions, they will be replaced. Ignorance is the survival strategy of the Slave Wraiths. Somewhere else, we meet the Marchosius team. This is a Zeon team of irregulars. This isn't like the good old boys that we saw in the plot to assassinate Giran, where the squad is mainly composed of people physically incapable of fighting. Rather, this team is made of elite soldiers who couldn't be put in the field due to a family member potentially betraying Zeon in some manner. Their squad is composed mainly of Zaku's, but we see also an Ifrit and a Zaku high mobility ground type. The MX-08TX Ifrit is a prototype ground unit that is placed somewhere in between a Goof and a Dom. This is very much like a Goof, but this unit specializes in more power output and sheer strength. This mobile suit also has special handheld weapons, making it one of the best close combat units. However, by this time in the war, Zeon focused their development on mobile suits for space as the landscape for war was changing. It has Vulcans, the same shotgun used by the Comfer, a triple 35mm Gatling gun, a giant bazooka, machine gun, and a head lancer, which is a longer ranged Heat Hawk. It also has 4 smoke dischargers for evasion. The MS-06G Zaku 2 High Mobility Ground Type is one unit that I always get confused with the standard Goof. It has a similar horn on its shoulder and its design overlaps with the Goof. This seems to happen a lot with Zeon, where 2 units are very similar and will eventually be consolidated into one unit. We also saw this with the MS-06FS Zaku 2, which eventually became the Zaku 2 Commander type. Its mobile suit has its joints reinforced and can take on more stress. It also has an upgraded backpack, and its shoulder shield is more aerodynamic than the base Zaku 2. It is equipped with a standard Zaku loadout, along with a recoilless rifle. A soldier of Marchosius gets an order to move out. He looks down at a picture of his family. His father appears to be Travis. We now know why he is on the Marchosius team. His father is a turncoat, and he can't be completely trusted. The Marchosius team is taking a break. They are trying to eat, but a sandstorm comes in, they're getting a mouthful of sand. One of these men is Vincent. He is the pilot of the Zaku 2 high mobility ground type. They begin complaining, but the commander, Doug Schneid, comes out of his Ifrit and tells his squad to stop complaining. Some of them hope to be transferred to the Chimera Corps. They are all very antagonistic against one another and have adopted a survival of the fittest mindset. They get intel that the Federation plans on recapturing Makuve's mining facilities sometime today. They go to intercept. One soldier, Liberio, is nervous about taking on mobile suits as they have only fought tanks thus far. As they move out, EFF intercepts with them first. They fire on the Marchosius team, taking out one of their men. They spot the Federation mobile suits at their 2 o'clock. It is the RX-75 gun tank. They are taken aback by the power of the gun tank, as its cannons are as powerful as a battleship. They are also out of range with their weapons, and they need to move in closer to the gun tanks. Vincent asks to go out. Schneid grants him permission. The commander realizes that it still moves like a tank, and they need to keep moving. Vincent goes in close and uses his heat hawk on the gun tank. It knocks him back, but the gun tank explodes. Medias suddenly drop a squad of GMs. One soldier doesn't even wait for orders and rips off the head of a GM. The commander tells his team to stay back, as they don't know what the GM is capable of. One Zaku goes down. Another soldier yells out his name. Ron Howard! Wait, Ron Howard, the redhead from Happy Days? Are you kidding me? The commander yells out, "Will you die for your career or save your life and start over?" This has been said a few times and seems to be the mantra of the team. They fight for their lives. Later, the 7 survivors bury the 3 men they just lost. Some blame themselves, but Schneid says they should just consider themselves lucky to be alive. One of the soldiers, Liberio, cries, knowing he has less competition for a promotion. Later, General Revel would begin his sweep across Europe, reclaiming the mines. In October of UC 0079, Earth Federation forces make their move across Europe. It wasn't until November that EFF was able to push Zeon forces out of Odessa. Many Zeon soldiers who remained on Earth fled to the Amazon in South America. Corporal Anne Rose Rosenheim and Albert Bell are assigned to the Marchosius team. Guy thinks that they are quite young and complains to the commander, but he says he got over youth a long time ago. Vincent thinks to himself about how they were defeated at Odessa and barely came out alive. They restructure their team. Albert and Parker will support the commander. Anne Rose and Liberio will now be a part of Vincent's platoon, and Clay and Rittenwa will be a part of Guy's platoon. Their mission is to find an entrance to Jaburo and allow Zeon to infiltrate their base. Their commander yells out, "Don't prioritize your career over your life." This is a 360 to what the commander says before the Battle of Odessa. Will you die for your career or save your life and start over? With the loss of many soldiers and the use of young cadets, it is clear that they all went through a life change during the Battle of Odessa. Would have been cool if we saw that, but whatever. Albert begins shaking with fear. Anne Rose helps calm him down and calls him lucky. Vincent watches this moment. We cut back to the slave wraiths. Travis is still in his slave wraith, but Bomber is now in the RX-77 3D gun cannon Heavy Type D, and Ripper is now piloting the Gundam Pixie. The RX-77 3D gun cannon Heavy Type D is an improved gun cannon variant with better armor and better firing capabilities. However, it still sucks balls at mobility and can't see anything due to its 2 gun cannons. Its added thrusters in its legs also give it more weight and a better balance when firing the 240mm gun cannons, which has a better feed system than the original gun cannon. It also is equipped with Vulcans, the XBR M79A beam rifle, a rocket bazooka, and a shield and hand grenades. The RX-78 XX Gundam Pixie is a prototype close-quarters combat Gundam specifically designed for ace pilots to use during the Battle of Odessa. This Gundam is way lighter than Grandpa and doesn't contain the core block system. Essentially, you take out the core fighter, remove the space thrusters, and you have a slimmer version of the RX-78. It has 60mm Vulcans, a beam dagger, a 90mm submachine gun, a 90mm bulb-up machine gun, the BOA BGM-79F3A beam gun, which is somewhere in between a beam rifle and a beam spray gun and is the same rifle used by the GM Command space type. We flash back to Travis talking to Diver, whose real name is Doris. He wants information on the so-called Marchosius team. He realizes that his son is on the Xeon team. The Slave Wraith team meets up with the Ghost team, composed of GMs. They refer to Travis's team as Graves Bastards. The two teams spot 8 Zakus plus 1 unknown aircraft at 5 o'clock. Ripper, whose real name is Fred, goes rushing forward in the Gundam Pixie. They engage in battle. Vincent and Travis see each other on the battlefield. Pixie goes up against Schneid's Ifrit and a Zaku. Ripper rushes and takes out the Zaku with ease. Guy's platoon is driving some of the slave wraiths towards the water. Behind the Zakus, a mobile suit in subterfuge comes out of nowhere and destroys one unit. Nothing shows up on Marchosius team's radar, but Minovsky density increases. Vincent has lost signal to Guy's platoon in less than 2 minutes of action. He decides to go after the slave wraith, but he is stopped in his tracks. Out of the explosion comes the mysterious unit. It is the RX-80 PR Pale Rider. Vincent Gleesner looks at a photo of his family, his father being Travis. He is on this team because of his father's defection. Communication to Side 3 has been cut off. He just wants to talk to his family, as he feels trapped on Earth. Both Vincent and Travis look at the Pale Rider. The RX-80 PR Pale Rider is a prototype next-generation mobile suit, incorporating the greatest technologies of the One-Year War. A mysterious man named Grave used it to test the Hades system, based off of the exam system. Hades stands for Hyper Animosity Detect Estimate System. Lame. Unlike the exam system, Hades fully takes control of the pilot, who serves merely as a vessel for Hades. This unit has a short operating time. Weapons include a pair of Vulcan guns, a beam saber, a hand beam gun, a 90mm bulb-up machine gun, the XBR M79H2 hyper beam rifle, a spike shield, and much more. Vincent and Travis begin fighting one another when the Pale Rider jumps in the middle. Travis wonders if Graves sent 2 of his assassins in for the same mission. Vincent wonders why Federation mobile suits are attacking one another. They focus on the slave wraiths. Ripper, aka Fred, in Gundam Pixie takes on Doug Schneid in the Ifrit. They engage in melee combat. Travis tries to tell Vincent to fall back, but Pale Rider tries to stab his Zaku. Travis and the slave wraith jumps in right on time and blocks the attack. Vincent's Zaku loses an arm. Travis says this mobile suit pilot is some kind of monster. He is finally able to get his comms open to Vincent and tell him that the Pale Rider is after the slave wraiths, and for him to fall back. Travis yells, "Do you want to die before your parents?" And that works on him. Vincent grabs and locks onto the Pale Rider as he ejects. He tells Vincent to hit his back. What if he actually fled instead of standing there gawking at him? He throws his Heat Hawk into the back, making it erupt into flames. Vincent watches in the distance as a comrade comes to rescue him. Someone tries to get into contact with the Pale Rider pilot. It happens to be a girl. Pale Rider lost its arm, but it is not down. The pilot is told to return, and a surge runs through her body. Vincent and his Zaku tries to stop Kirkland Brand Blue Destiny from running off. The Pale Rider's pilot loses control of the unit. Wires attached to the pilot's helmet sending jolts to her face. But before any fighting can happen, Pale Rider takes off. Vincent is informed that the Mad Angler team has found a way into Jaburo, and they can finally pull back, though it played no role in the Slave Wraith's team. Jaburo was attacked the following day. Grave was able to flee. The Slave Wraith team is concerned that without Grave, they will be considered traitors. It seems Grave expects them to be executed for desertion or eventually killed for using unknown mobile suits. Travis wants to head to the secret base, a place where even Grave doesn't know about. We will find out that he actually does. Meanwhile, in a Jukan sub, the Marchosius team is moving with the Mad Angler team, heading towards North America. Vincent's team pulls out a piece of Federation armor wedged into his Zaku. He notices a picture of his family taped onto the armor. According to Vincent, post-Battle of Jaburo, some had a choice to remain on Earth or fight the front in space. They chose to head into space. They're on their way to a mass driver system heading towards Granada. Lieutenant Colonel Heckel is in command, trying to get as many people out into space. The Federation approaches their location. He launches the Marchosius team to protect the Zanzibar, getting ready for a launch. Vincent asks the Colonel to borrow one of his mobile suits. Unfortunately for Vincent, all they had to work with is a Zaku-1. A gun tank bombards the mountainside, getting very close to the mass driver system. The Zanzibar launches as the Marcosius team is attacked. It is Travis and the Slave Wraith full armor. The RX-79G WR full armor Slave Wraith is the repaired version of the Slave Wraith after it was damaged by Pale Rider, since there was a shortage in Gundam ground parts. This incorporates GEM ground parts. It uses the Type C GEM's arm shield. The shoulders have a modified weapons rack, which incorporates a stolen Goof custom Gatling gun. Other weapons include Vulcan guns in the chest, a multi-launcher, a 3 and 2 tube missile launcher, the Blash XBR M79E beam rifle, a leg missile pod, and a titanium ceramic composite shield. Wearable armor can be purged. He moves in to attack the GEMs. Travis asks if they are part of the Marcosius squad. If so, they will provide covering fire for them. Captain Schneid wonders what is going on. Travis says, I'm in a full armor variant. By law, I have to daka at least once, and I must perform at least 3 pew-pews. My hands are tied. The real full armor is the explosions we made on the way. The Marcosius team and Slave Wraith team meet. Travis tells him that his unit is composed of prisoners, so in many ways, they too are Zeon. Travis tells him that there is one remaining shuttle. They should be able to make their escape after a few repairs. Doris, aka Diver, informs Travis that she notices a blip on the radar. It is a Big Tray class along with Pale Rider. Travis is certain Grave is behind Pale Rider. He fires his Gatling gun as Kirkland Blue Destiny moves in. The Marcosius team moves in for a melee attack while the Slave Wraith fires pew-pews from afar. Marvin, aka Bomber, fires on Pale Rider, but it does a sweet backflip over the explosion. Travis actually gets a hit on the blue mobile suit. The airfield doesn't have a crane. Diver says that one of the mobile suits should help them out. It will make things go faster. Captain Schneid attacks the Big Tray class ship. They hit some of the turrets, but one gets a direct hit on the mass driver system. Gundam Pixie and the Ifrit go to town on the hover ship. While distracted, a GEM stabs Schneid's Ifrit in the back. Captain Schneid is down. Above them in what looks like a dish, the mysterious Grave is observing the battle along with the brainwaves of the Pale Rider pilot. Grave mentions that the pilot is a Newtype after all. They begin loading the shuttle. The Marcosius team needs to pull back. Vincent crashes out. Calm down, bro, you were in a Zaku-1. He takes out 2 GEMs but is shot in the back. They all stop listening to their orders until they hear Schneid's voice. The captain is still alive. He tells them to get back to the shuttle and they finally listen. Schneid tells him to forget what he said about competition in the Gobi Desert. They are comrades in arm and they need to look after one another. They were competing for potential spots on the Chimera Corps, but he says it isn't worth it. Schneid will stay behind and hold off another wave that is currently on their way. Ripper hates space, so he wants to stay behind. Pixie and the Ifrit hold off the Big Tray class. Hey, wait a minute, that isn't a dish. That's just a regular plane with a dish on it. What a phony. Anytime I see a generic plane, I'm disappointed. They could have made that a dish. Grave thinks he has collected enough data for the next Hades. This also shows that Grave does know this location. The shuttle takes off. Pale Rider is staring down the shuttle playing a game of chicken before it jumps out of the way. The Big Tray fires its remaining turrets on the mass driver system. The shuttle takes off just in time as the bombardment takes out the mass driver system. Schneid fires and takes out the bridge of the Big Tray. He is barely hanging in there. Ripper tells him that he betrayed his people in his last breath. Even with this knowledge, he could trust him to help get his people back into space. Schneid passes away. Ripper gives him a proper burial. He could rest knowing he was successful. One thing to note here is that this manga and the video game isn't the only appearance of Ripper. During the attack on Torrington in UC 0096, he assisted Yonem Kurtz and an Ifrit Schneid. Oh, Schneid, like Schneid, I get it. The shuttle finds a Salamis-class ship that they might be able to get working. Vincent gives back the photo to Travis. He shows him the same photo that he has. Vincent wonders if they will see each other again. He still has things to handle on his end, but hopes that they could have a meal when all is said and done. The Slave Wraiths commandeer the Salamis while the shuttle continues towards Granada. December 14th, Operation Chambalo begins, though this manga calls it Harpsichord. The two mean the same thing, but Harpsichord sounds so much lamer. Grave also has a secret fleet heading towards the Solomon area. Out in space, Pale Rider is running a test. We learn the pilot's name is Chloe Crochet. The English version is so weird, but I'm pretty sure it should be the alliteration Chloe Crochet or Crochet. I feel like someone on that corporate-run wiki is trolling everyone. The Pale Rider received great improvements in speed. Grave wants to up her Newtype meds. His goal is to keep up with Xeon's Newtype research. Meanwhile, on the moon, the Marcosius team is now linked up with the Chimera Corps. They too run training exercises. While training, they run into a bishop, the MS-06Z Psychomu System Zaku, also known as the MSZ-06 Bishop or Zaku-2 Z-Type, is a prototype created under the Bishop Plan, Xeon's attempt to create remote-controlled Newtype weaponry. Its goal was to turn this into a Jiang. What happened? This was used for data collection mainly. It is based off the F-type frame, but the head is replaced with something similar to a Zaku-1 head. This machine is enlarged and there are no external cooling pipes. As a result, the mobile suit has one high-output rocket engine on each side of the chest, and 3 more on its back. However, its operating time is only about 10 minutes, making it questionable to use on the battlefield. The arms detach at the elbow and each finger has a megaparticle cannon. Of course, this has a Psychomu system. The Bishop tells the Marcosius team that it is their time to train and begins firing on their comrades. Vincent's men flank while he finds an opening. Being in training mode, the team didn't hesitate. He goes in to attack, but just boops the Bishop on the snout. This was just a test. Corporal Rose is the one in the Psychomu Zaku. Cadets watched their training as they wanted to see aces in action. These idiots realize they are now ace veterans. However, the cadets aren't watching them. They are watching as the Purple Widow and a Musai launch. It is Caecilia with Shar heading towards Solomon. He notes that Caecilia isn't bringing a lot of forces to help out. Of course, this is all intentional. December 24th, the attack on Solomon begins. The attack on Granada begins. The captain wants to send out Chloe even though she is in rough shape. They find her completely passed out. The Graves team mission is to not engage and follow Chloe's lead. They are there to keep Pale Rider under control if things go bad. Shannon will be collecting battle data once Minovsky particles reach battle level. The Antium picks up a shipwrecked ball and some stragglers. The ship suddenly goes dark. They have a full power failure. Meanwhile, the hangar has a hazmat leak. They have to abandon the hangar. In the ball is the Slave Wraith team. They hacked in and created the hazmat warning. Fixer tells Hire to take Bomber's sidearm. Since the Pale Rider incident, they have been scrubbing all records of their movements, but the enemy still knows of their location. Bomber is a mole for Grave, but while piloting their ball here, Bomber didn't send any intel back to them. He asks why. He says he is playing the long game. Grave enticed Bomber with a cushy promotion for spying on them, but after the Pale Rider went awry, he realized he can't trust them and made a mistake. Hire doesn't think they could trust Bomber, but Fixer says that he forgives them. Back with Grave, Chloe wakes up in Pale Rider and is good to go. Shannon thinks to herself, man, Chloe looks haggard, and wonders what drugs they are giving her. They get behind the solar flare system and they fire it on Xeon. Fun fact, according to the Mobile Suit Big Book of Tactics and Strategy, the focal point of the solar system reaches temperatures of the sun. So this first giant laser solved the vaporization issues, so every giant laser after this is about making this shoot at a longer distance. Then you get the Crossbone Gundam where they shoot at Earth all the way from Jupiter. Shannon launches in the Gun Cannon 2, which we broke down in our Hooligan saga. She follows Pale Rider. While on board the ship, the Slave Wraiths find a Mobile Suit. Pale Rider handles business. Shannon notes that no human should be able to move like that. Diver intercepts all incoming messages. Fixer and Bomber find the Pale Rider Cavalry. The RX-80 PR-2 Pale Rider Cavalry is the mass production test unit of the Pale Rider project. This is more or less the same as the original Pale Rider, but limiters were placed on the Hades system, though it doesn't guarantee the pilot won't go berserk. Many weapons are removed to make way for the composite weapon, Sekina. This 3-in-1 weapon has a Gatling gun, a Mega Beam launcher, and a Micro Missile launcher. Other weapons include Vulcans, 2 beam sabers which can be swapped out for a beam javelin, the XBR M79H2 Hyper Beam rifle, and a shield. Bomber says that Hades backs up the pilot with an operating system, but in reality, Hades takes control and tears the pilot's body apart. Chloe tells Shannon that there is a malfunction in her beam cannons. Shannon suggests that they return to base. Then Solomon shakes and explosions go off. Out of the asteroid comes Chicken McZam. Pale Rider moves in as it attacks the Tiamat fleet, but even Chloe gets trampled. Fixer launches in cavalry with the other Slave Wraiths. He tries to act cool by saying, "We are coming for you, Grave." But then Fixer says, "What the hell is that thing?" All his aura went away when he spotted the Big Zam. The Big Zam comes in and tries to slugger Fixer. "Don't get sluggered!" Grave learns that Tiamat's flagship has gone down. The Antium Columbus ship goes down as well. Big Zam hits Forrestal. Chloe is dead in the water. Shannon tries to reach her on the comms. Passing by her is the Gundam along with a core booster. Oh no, Slegger is about to get Sleggered. The Marcosius crew learns that Dozel and Solomon has fallen, and they are to help with any retreating soldiers. The Forrestal is getting its hangar patched up. Shannon hugs Chloe for surviving. The Pale Rider is in rough shape after trying to tank the Big Zam. They learn that Operation Star 1 is in full effect. The Columbus, the Antium, was their supply ship, so things are going to get harder for them. They lost Pale Rider cavalry, so they are pushing their own remaining Hades system to the limits. They don't care about Chloe's life. A gem brings a rogue survivor from the Antium. It is the captain. He tells him that their ship was locked down due to a hazmat outbreak, and says it was the captain's direct orders. But he did no such thing. He blames the Antium captain for losing the cavalry and shoots him in the face. The slave wraiths barely made it out of the Solomon area alive, and are currently hiding in a destroyed Musai. Fixer has whiplash from taking so many G's to the face in Pale Rider. He says, I nearly passed out. What's the point of Grave making a mobile suit that makes you pass out? Bomber has cyber Newtype drugs and gives them to Fixer. He likens it to doping in sports like anabolic steroids. Fixer wonders if he will stoop to taking drugs to be on their level. He thinks he has no choice, but you can see it in his eyes. He wants the drugs. Hire paints the Slave Wraith logo on Pale Rider and gives it a blue and gray color palette. The Slave Wraiths know that the push for a Baoku will be the Federation's last battle. They will seek a surrender after that. The war is about to end, and they have to stop Grave before that happens. They are fixing up a Komsai. Hire says that he still doesn't trust Bomber, as he teases him. While looking into Vincent, Fixer's son, Diver learns that Zeon is clearing out in a bunch of sectors in space. Degwin and General Revel meet when out of nowhere, the solar ray vaporizes their fleets. See, it's only been 2 days and it's already more long range. Fixer knows that Giran used his own father as bait to fire on Revel's fleet. Vincent listens to Giran's speech. He is in a Gelgoog high mobility R-type with the rest of the Marcosius team in Rickdoms and Zaku's. Rose is in the Bishop. A young cadet named Albert is excited to join the battle with the team. Oh, he's gonna die. The commander tells everyone but Albert not to get themselves killed. The Federation begins moving in on a Baoku. Grave knows the Pale Rider program is up in the air now that General Revel is dead. He has to get chummy with the next general that takes his place. People tell Shannon not to get too close to Chloe because after the war, they're going to definitely dissect her brain. The slave wraiths make it to a Baoku in their janky Komsat. Fixer says, alright, time to do a little bit of drugs. Just a little bit of drugs. No slippery slope here. Grave tells Chloe it's time to destroy all Zeon's ships. Don't hold back and waste time on mobile suits. Pale Rider launches. She does what is ordered and takes out some Musais. One captain sends out an SOS to the Marcosius team, but their Musai is destroyed before finishing their message. The Marcosius team sees the red eyes of the Pale Rider, and they move in on the target. The cadets stay back while Captain Schneid and the others move in. They are able to surround her and they attack, but Shannon pushes Chloe out of the way. One Zaku takes a Heat Hawk and chops off Chloe's legs and shoots her at point blank range. Hey, he shot the head. That does nothing. This makes Chloe rage. The slave wraiths move into position. Diver and Hire stay behind. If the Federation wins, they will link up with any surviving Feddies. If they lose, they will take the Komsai to Zeon. Diver gets a radio signal. Fixer's son and the Marcosius team is fighting against Pale Rider. He launches in cavalry. Pale Rider rages on. Rose tries to use the Bishop's wired finger cannons. Diver says that Fixer needs to go save his son. They will always have another opportunity to get Grave, but if he doesn't help Vincent, he will regret it. The slave wraiths change course. Rose is relentless with the Saikomu finger cannons, but Pale Rider inches closer and closer to her. Vincent intercepts Chloe. Pale Rider shoots and kills Liberio. There goes your sharpshooter. The Gelgoog has Pale Rider pinned. Vincent tells Guy to use his big sword and kill both of them. Guy slices down, but Pale Rider is too fast and he takes out Vincent's Gelgoog. Luckily, he ejected. Chloe is savage as she could spot Vincent, a tiny human in the vastness of space. Pale Rider takes out Guy. Everyone but Albert died. Well, I was totally wrong on that. The Marcosius team is in critical condition, but Fixer and cavalry finally approaches. He notices that Vincent is okay. He made it just in time. Now to unload this entire payload, since Fixer also used a Hades system mobile suit. He knows how many Gs it takes to dodge his missiles. So he is going to stress test the Pale Rider and see how many Gs Chloe could take.
Her heart starts to hurt, but Fixer tries to tell her that the drugs in Hades are going to destroy her. He says that Grave will throw her under the bus just like the assassins, but this just makes her angrier. Chloe destroys the Sekina composite weapon. It's time for a sword fight. Shannon is still alive. She runs into Bomber, who wants her to come back with the slave rates. But they are enemies now that he chose not to be their mole. He shows Shannon Chloe's readings. It's over the limit, and her heart is going to give out at any minute. The two continue fighting. Chloe's heart tenses up. This chapter does a great job at showing you their fight. This coverage isn't going to do it justice. Pale Rider's right arm gives out. The two Pale Riders clash. Fixer slams her head into an asteroid. We flash back to the colony drop. Following that, nuclear winter began, and rain fell, and the sun disappeared behind the clouds. It seems like the Federation, during the Australian cleanup, just took all the orphan children they found, threw them into the Fedi system. It's not human trafficking if you do it for your nation. She wakes up to Shannon's face. Fixer tells her that they are planning an operation against Grave. If they fail, they will most likely all be executed for war crimes. He wants Vincent to take Chloe with him. She came from a family that Xeon colony dropped, and was forced into this war through pain and suffering. Fixer tells his son to show Xeon that she is a product of the cycle of pain. I mean, Xeon will realistically still execute her, but whatever. Hire will take them in the Comsite to Xeon. Shannon and Chloe bid farewell. The Comsite heads toward a nearby Zanzibar. Vincent looks at Chloe and thinks of his friends that she just killed. In the background, a Bawaku falls. Shannon and the Gun Cannon 2 return claiming to have Chloe with her, but it is Bomber sneaking on board Grave's ship. Fixer falsifies his transponder signature and moves in for a stealth attack, but Grave knew it was him. Bomber sets a surprise in the hangar. Fixer tries to take out the bridge. He then gets out of his Pale Rider and starts mugging Grave. Come at me, bro. Fixer pulls out a trigger. He had Bomber rig up the Minovsky fusion reactor on the Gun Cannon 2 to blow if he pushes the trigger. He tells him not to try anything funny. Fixer tells Grave that soldiers aren't something he could throw away so frivolously. Grave says there are times when you have to be a pawn. Bomber and Shannon escape the ship and give Fixer a signal, thinking too much like a businessman. Grave thinks there are selfish demands he is trying to make, but Fixer knows nothing is getting him out of this situation. He pushes the trigger, and the mobile suit explodes, taking out the ship. Grave thought it was his mobile suit that would explode, but it came from the hangar. He tells Grave that on Earth, his facilities are currently being raided as well. Fred Reber and the Mercosius team on the ground are handling this. Grave was the person who originally prevented Fixer's death to make him his personal assassin. There's no time for dramatic irony. We gotta put Vulcans through this, man. Fixer turns Grave into Swiss cheese. Oh look, there goes his arm. The Pegasus-class ship, the Forestal, goes down. Their mission along with the war is over. He hopes that his son escaped safely. Vincent and his team took Chloe's original Pale Rider with them. June UC 0085. Vincent and his team prep for an Earth drop mission. Hire and Chloe are with him. Vincent wonders about his dad. Comsite detaches from the Musai and begins dropping down towards Earth. A Salamis moves in to intercept. They send out a rookie pilot named Phil Dell in the Doulahan. The RX-80 PR-3 Pale Rider Doulahan is a rebuilt Pale Rider based on the Pale Rider Cavalry. This unit doesn't have the Hades unit installed, but still maintains the same performance as Cavalry. It is designed to take down a Hades system mobile suit. It doesn't retain the Sekina or the reactive armor. The Guardian Shield contains 5 layers of different alloys and has anti-beam coating. Weapons include 60mm Vulcans, a Heat Lance, a Hyper Bazooka, and the G4 and G5's Hyper Beam Rifle. Doulahan launches. Vincent heads out to protect the Comsai. He launches in Pale Rider VG. The RX-80 PR Pale Rider VG is the original Pale Rider with added leg tube missile pods usually found in the Ifrit Custom. It also utilizes Xeon's 90mm bulb-up machine gun, along with a beam Naginata. Many of its repaired parts come from the Gelgu Jaeger. It also has a forearm-mounted beam rifle. Some Zakus come in for support. They mention they are big fans of his work from the 1-Year War. For a second I thought this was a Grievous-style beam Naginata, but Vincent is just spinning it really fast. He thinks about how many lives have been lost even after the war. He's talking about Xeon, of course. Screw these 3 Fetties I just shot down. Vincent wants to continue fighting, but he has to get back to the Comsai before they drop. The Fetties surround the Musai and destroy it, but they tell Vincent to live on for Xeon before it erupts in flames. Phil notices the Pale Rider right as it bails. While dropping down, Vincent wants Hire to get into contact with his father. They touch down and meet with Fred Reber, who ended up defecting to Xeon. He was the Pixie pilot. Phil is looking over the battle data. He is certain that it was the old Pale Rider and wonders if Chloe is still the pilot. Though without meds, her body wouldn't be able to handle it. Luckily, they get authorization to head to Earth. Vincent is following a lead regarding old Pale Rider scientists. Fred says, yeah, they're gone. His dad helped get him out before things got too hot, but then Fred lost contact with Fixer. There was no mobile suit that they could borrow, but they have this AT guy that's just been abandoned since the pilot died. Well, obviously we're gonna use that. Vincent and Chloe eat some lunch. Fred comes over and they reflect on what they are fighting for, which is an interesting question when it comes to Fred because he was born on Earth. It is all about people. Fred calls them exiled lions. He thinks about Doug Schneid and the Marcosius team. Hire was able to fix up the AT guy with the quickness. There was a sniper custom nearby. This sniper takes out a Zaku-1 scouting on a skyscraper. The Xeon remnants learn of the enemy attack. Hire protects Chloe while Vincent and Fred fight. Gun tanks begin a volley of missiles. Phil in the Doulahan drops down from a gun parry. He looks for Pale Rider. Hire and Chloe get into the AT guy and hide underwater. As they submerge, something goes wrong. Chloe apologizes. She takes control and is about to wreck some stuff. Phil tells his wingman to watch out for the Pale Rider. Vincent says, check out my sweet beam Naginata. Fred is in the Ifrit Schneid using the heat darts like kunais. The gun tanks continue their bombardment, but Phil tells him to lay off so he can move in. But he suddenly gets attacked by the AT guy. Chloe has taken control, and it has also taken too much strain on her heart. Phil realizes this is Chloe. They seem to know each other. He tells her everyone died of the side effects and she is the only one who survived. But she can undergo even more enhancements to become like Phil, who doesn't need drugs to pilot Hades. Hire says he's lying. They will just turn Chloe into a lab rat if she goes back to the Fetties. Phil says, remember that colony drop? Don't you want to kill all those Zeeks? Fred says to Vincent to take this opportunity to go find his dad with Chloe. Vincent wants to fight with honor, but Fred tells him that this battle won't move the needle. He says not to worry because they are going to retreat using Jucon. There still will be a day when they must rise up again. I assume that was the attack on Torrington and Unicorn. That was totally Fred, right? Fred attacks Doulahan and bails. As he flees, he thinks that he may never see Vincent again. As Phil watches them leave, he thinks if only he had the Hades system. Then he could win. Chloe, Hire, and Vincent meet up with Fixer and Bomber at an abandoned facility where Hades was created. They take Chloe to Dr. Marlene, who did research on the PR project. She wants to examine Chloe. Bomber pulls out a gun and says, if you do anything unordinary, I will shoot you. Alright, take it down a notch. They tell Fixer that there's another Pale Rider cavalry that they recently went up against. Phil Dell seems to also be a part of the PR project. Vincent tells his dad that he still hasn't told Chloe that he helped with the colony drop. Chloe and Vincent have a moment. She doesn't want him to leave after losing her parents to the colony drop. Vincent says, funny you should mention that very tragic moment. Phil and his team surround the base. He wants to call in more men, but this facility is where Graves did illegal activities, which includes the PR program. They have to handle this themselves and take Hades without the Federation knowing. Vincent finally tells Chloe of his involvement with the colony drop. Lucky for him, they spot mobile suits. It is Phil's team. Dr. Marlene contacts Phil and tells him Chloe is here, but Vincent and the others find her being a snitch. She has to do Chloe's surgery now. Oh, never mind, Bomber was right to threaten you earlier. Vincent heads out in his Pale Rider. He says Chloe will be a different person post-surgery, so he says goodbye. The Pale Rider and the full armor slave Wraith join the battle. Doulahan falls into a trap set by Vincent. They punch each other while Phil says anyone that is a part of the colony drop are not human. He wants to take his mobile suit. Vincent realizes that his Pale Rider Doulahan doesn't have the Hades. It is clear that Phil just wants the Hades for vengeance. The two just pound one another. Vincent has the upper hand with Hades, but he is straining his body to keep this going. He needs to stop if he wants to live. But he continues. That is when Chloe comes in with the AT guy, but it is too late. An explosion goes off. She chases after Pale Rider in the water. The unit is still intact along with Vincent. The backpack jettisoned and exploded, saving the unit. Sucks to be Phil, I guess. Vincent and Chloe are reunited. UC-0080, their war has finally come to an end. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam's side story, Missing Link. Much of this manga is a really loose story that sets up really great fights. It's almost like this was a video game centered around a player playing. Yeah, well, so was Rise from the Ashes, and that did a good job at making compelling scenarios. Out of all of the video games turned mangas that we have covered, this might be the weakest, which is a shame because it has the best mechanical designs. This manga seems to have concluded, which means we probably aren't going to see the Missing Link adventures that continue during UC-0090. We don't get to see the Toads Ritter, which continues the Pale Rider line. Maybe in the future we will cover the video game. It's Blue Destiny all over again, but let me know what you want me to cover next. I am thinking of picking up Mobile Suit Aggressor soon, and I am working on translating the Igloo manga, so look forward to that. But that will do it for now, Newtypes. Remember, don't go up against the Hades system and a non-Hades system mobile suit. Peace.